So now you see it. The patterns, the survival mode, the way that your past has created the patterns that are now showing up in your life. And maybe for the first time you realize, I don't want to live like this anymore. But awareness isn't enough, because if it was, you would have changed the moment that you saw the problem. The truth is, your mind doesn't just let go of the past. You have to actually reprogram it. You have to train it to stop repeating the cycles that are keeping you stuck. Because if you don't take control of your subconscious, then your subconscious is going to take control of you. And that's not a good place to be unless you program it the way that you want to see your life. So let's get into the psychology of it, because this isn't just about willpower. This isn't about trying harder. This is about how your brain works. And if you don't understand this, then you're just going to keep repeating the same cycles no matter how bad you want to change. So number one, let's talk about this. Your brain runs on autopilot. 95% of your thoughts, your emotions, and your behaviors are all controlled by your subconscious mind. That means the majority of your decisions aren't even conscious decisions. You're just repeating patterns that you don't even realize are there. For instance, if you've been operating in survival mode for years, then your brain has been wired to see stress, sabotage, and control as normal. Just like the story that I told about my own life, even if you want to change, even if you begin trying to change, your subconscious is going to fight to keep you in what's familiar, even if it's unhealthy, even if it's killing you, even if it's destroying your life. And this is why breaking free is not about just making a decision to do so. You literally have to rewire and reprogram your brain to start implementing the new behaviors and thought patterns. Number two, the thing that's keeping you stuck is comfort zones. Comfort zones are a lie. You think you struggle with change because it's hard, but no, you struggle with change because your brain is wired to keep you in what's familiar. So if you've been living in stress, sabotage, and control, then your brain sees peace as a threat because it's not what it's used to. And your brain loves familiarity, and so it's going to keep you in what it's used to, even if, again, it's destroying your life. The next thing is, if you have always been in toxic relationships, that's what's normal for your brain. So when you get into an actual healthy relationship, it doesn't feel normal. It doesn't feel safe. Your brain is throwing up flags that this isn't what we're used to. And again, this is why you have to reprogram your mind, reprogram what you think about behaviors and relationships and all that. And if you always struggled, whether it be mentally, spiritually, financially, whatever it is, your brain is going to find ways to keep you struggling because that's what it's used to. And so again, it goes back. You have to rewire your brain. Your comfort zone is not what is best for you. It's just what your brain has decided is safe. And if you don't consciously rewire it, then you're just going to keep sabotaging yourself without even realizing it. So how do you break the cycle? How do you reprogram your brain? How do you train your brain to stop putting you in survival mode and start moving towards healing? So here's the process. Step number one is you have to interrupt the pattern. And this is awareness. You're aware of the problem. You're aware of the pattern, plus action. You do something about it. Most people stop at awareness. They see the pattern and then they don't do anything about it. They see the pattern, but they don't interrupt it. You have to interrupt the pattern. As an example, every time that you catch yourself thinking in an old pattern or operating in an old behavior, you have to become conscious of it immediately and change that pattern. Every time you catch yourself in an old pattern, like controlling, avoiding, shutting down, or reacting, you have to stop and then do something different. This is uncomfortable. Your brain is going to resist it. You have been operating in this mode for so long that when you start operating differently, it's uncomfortable. Your body has become addicted to those emotions. Your body has become addicted to those actions, and they've become habitual in your life. And so whenever you start to change those habitual actions, thoughts, and behaviors, your body is going to fight it to try to pull you back to what's normal. And so you have to be aware of this going in, and you have to catch yourself every time you start thinking that past behavior or in that past pattern. You have to catch it and redirect it. But understand that the discomfort is proof that you're actually breaking the cycle, and you have to keep going. Now, you're not going to be perfect. You're still going to lash out sometimes or be rude or sarcastic or whatever, but the point is to keep going. And you're going to begin becoming very conscious when you feel your blood pressure raise up, when you feel yourself get angry or stressed or anxious or whatever the case may be, and you're going to start developing those pattern interruptions, and then it gets easier and easier. So then you never let yourself go into that mode for longer than, a minute or two, whereas before you're blowing up for 5, 10, 15 minutes. And that it gets shorter and shorter as you go. I'll give you an example. If you feel yourself pulling away in a relationship, instead of shutting down, communicate. If you catch yourself micromanaging or controlling, take a step back and just let things happen. If you feel the need to distract yourself, just sit with that discomfort instead of running from it. I'm guilty of this. Instead of ever letting myself just sit there and doing nothing, I'm quick to grab the phone and start scrolling, right? I'm quick to get those dopamine rushes, but that's not healthy. And so we have to become conscious of that and then change that behavior. The more that you interrupt that pattern that you've been living with, the more your brain is going to rewire that script that you've been running on. All right. So number one, you have to interrupt the pattern. Number two is you have to reprogram your mind with visualization or inner work. Like we said before, your brain doesn't know the difference between something that's actually happening and a vivid imagined event. And again, this is why trauma gets stuck in our bodies. It's an unprocessed experience. But this is also why you can rewire your brain without reliving the event. One way to reprogram your mind is do like I told you about. Go back and do some inner child work. Rewrite that narrative that you created in your mind. Visualize your younger self and give them the reassurance that you never got. What I like to tell people to do is meditation and visualization. Decide who you want to be. Spend time every single day with just you in absolute silence, meditating and visualizing who you want to be. Visualizing your ideal life, because your subconscious will start believing what you repeatedly tell it. Another thing you can do is daily affirmations. Write down a bunch of I am statements. There's a video on this channel somewhere about writing I am statements. Who do you want to be? Figure that out and read that every single day. Read that with emotion and conviction. And eventually you're going to rewire your brain, if you can do it, feeling the emotion of whatever you're trying to be, do, or have. Because you'll be able to train your brain to see new possibilities instead of the limitations that you've lived with your entire life. The more you introduce new and empowering beliefs, the more your brain's going to rewrite that script that you've been living in. Number three is you need to embody the change that you're looking for. What do I mean by this? Make your actions match up with your identity. Most people, they try to change their actions first, but then they just fall right back into old patterns and old behaviors. What you need to do is change your identity first. Who are you? Who are you trying to be? Who are you becoming? Change your identity first. Walk around as an abundant person. Walk around as a healed person. How would that person look? How would that person act? So instead of, stop trying to sabotage yourself, become the person who doesn't need to sabotage themselves. Instead of trying to be less reactive, start seeing yourself as somebody who's emotionally mature, emotionally grounded, and emotionally in control. Instead of trying to fix your relationships, start seeing yourself as somebody who's already worthy of love and connection and closeness with somebody. And understand you're trying to undo behaviors that your brain has used for survival for so long. So again, your brain is going to fight you on this. But you have to just keep going. It's going to be difficult at first, but it's possible. And just keep going. And then your mind's going to catch up with your new identity that you're creating. But the more that you act as if this is who you are, the faster your mind is going to catch up and your reality is going to mirror who you're becoming on the inside. Look, you've been running old programming your whole life, but now you see it. You understand it. And that means you have a choice. You can stay stuck in survival mode, or you can break free, rewire your mind, and become a new person. Because you don't have to live in sabotage, stress, or control anymore. You don't have to keep running the same patterns over and over. You don't have to keep being the version of yourself that was created by trauma. You can heal all that. You can change. You can rewire your brain. You can step into the version of you that's healed, that's free, that's at peace. But that decision is on you. You have to decide. You have to take the actions. You can easily stay in your comfort zone and keep on living the same way that you've been living. But there is a freedom that comes when you start taking a hard look at yourself and healing the things that you didn't even know were affecting you. So, here's my challenge to you. For the next 30 days, become conscious and start interrupting the patterns. Every time an old habit shows up, do the opposite. If you normally shut down, lean in. If you normally control, just let go. If you normally distract yourself, just sit with it. And then watch how fast your brain starts to change. That's all I got. Hey, if this message hit home for you, don't keep it to yourself. Send it to somebody that might need to hear it. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell icon so you can be notified. Leave a comment below. What are you going to do? What actions are you going to take now moving forward so that you don't have to continue living in these self-sabotaging cycles? Follow me below. I'll put my Instagram below. Go over there and follow me. Check out the website. I'll leave a link below as well. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for listening. As always, make good choices. Have a great day.